Hello everyone. Today we shall discuss a very important concept, that is function overloading using C++. So to begin with, let us see what is a function. Function is a block of code that performs some operation. Even a function can also be defined as a set of code which is written separately in order to avoid the repetitive calculations. So, there are certain languages which strongly support function oriented programming concept. One among them is our C++. Even C also supports function, and we can define n number of functions and we can call those functions whenever it is required. Suppose if you want to discuss scanf, printf in the case of C, they are also functions. So let us take an example how a function looks like. As I mentioned, a function is a block of code which performs some operation. So there is an example which is given wherein this is a function in the name of get data. The purpose of this function is to read the two values. One is real and another one is imaginary. So a simple function which is reading as well as which is executing whenever it is called, and the purpose of this function is to read two values. One is to the real and another one is to the imaginary. Now let us look into the different types of functions. So we have different types of functions. One which has no arguments passed but which returns some value to the main program, whoever is calling the function. Another one, the function which takes some argument from the main program but it doesn't return any value to the main function. Another one which takes some argument from the main program and then which returns some resultant back to the main program. One more which does not take any argument from the main program but it returns some value to the main program. So when we talk about the different types of functions, a function without argument pass and return, the function with some argument pass and without return, a function with some argument pass and return, a function without argument pass and with the return. So these are the different types of functions which we study, which exist in object-oriented programming. Now let us look into what is the meaning of overloading, function overloading. The concept of function overloading, which is supported by C++, says that we are defining more than two meaning for a same function name. Either two or more than two meaning for a same function name. See, just look at the example. So here the number of arguments, the data type of the arguments are all different. But the name of the function is the same. So just look at here. Example is very clearly mentioned. There is a function called in the name of test. Just look at here. There is a function called test with no argument. There is a same function called test with one argument of type integer. There is another function with the written as a float, but it's taking an argument called a, which is a double, and we have one more function same name test with the two arguments of different types called a, which is an integer, b, which is a double. So look at here, the name of the function is same, test, 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 test. Everywhere the name is same, but just look at the parameters. In every function the parameter is totally different from one another. The first case there is no parameter, there is no argument. In the second case there is one argument which is of type integer. In the third case, there is one argument which is of type double. In the fourth case, there are two arguments. One is an integer argument and second one is a double argument. So please note the concept of overloading says same name given to a function but different arguments, and this concept is called function overloading. Function overloading means two or more functions having the same name but the arguments, the data types of the arguments, sometimes in the return to the main function, are different from one another. So this is the concept of function overloading. Now let's take an example with one program. So I'll dictate the program. Just go to the program, write a C++ program to calculate the volume of the cube, cylinder and cuboid using function overloading. So the objective of this particular program is to find out the volume of three different objects. One is a cube, second one is a cylinder, and third one is a cuboid. So now let us look into the formula for the volume of each. What is the volume of a cube? The volume of the cube is the cube of the side, each side. If you treat S as a side, then S into S into S, that is a cube. S cube is the volume of the cube. Now let us look into the volume of a cylinder. So volume of a cylinder is pi r square h, where pi is 3.14, it's a constant, r is the radius of the cylinder, h is the height from the center to the tip. So that's the volume of a cylinder. Now coming to the volume of a cuboid, it is L into B into H, where L is the length, B is the breadth and H is the height. So just look at here, the volume of a cube has one argument, the cube of that argument is a volume, but volume of a cylinder has two arguments. Pi is a constant, it has two arguments. What are the two arguments? Radius and height are the two arguments. Now coming to the volume of a cuboid. So volume of a cuboid has got three arguments. Okay, L, B and H. Okay, so let us look into the declaration. So what I do is I declare a function in the name volume. Now the function volume is overloaded. How? In one example, to find the volume of a cube, it is taking only one side. So void volume integer. This I am declaring during the class. Void volume integer. What does it mean? I will take only one value, that is a S, from the main program through this argument, and then I will find out the volume by multiplying that argument 3 times. S into S into S, or S cube. Now coming to second one. Here also I am using the same name of the function called volume, but here I am taking two arguments. What are the two arguments? R and H are the two arguments, where R is the radius and H is the height. So then I can use a different formula to find the volume of a cylinder. Now let us look into the volume of a cuboid. How do I find the volume of a cuboid? I can find the volume of a cuboid by taking three arguments. What are the three arguments? Length is one argument of type integer. Breadth is another argument of type integer. Height is one more argument of type integer. So volume of a cuboid is calculated by taking three arguments. What are the three arguments? L, B and H. Integer, integer and integer. So here it is very clear that the function volume is called three times with the three different arguments. That is what is called function overloading. Now let us go to the program. So in the program, just you can find out the cylinder, the volume of a cylinder has a constant value that is called pi. The value of the pi is 3.14. So I am declaring it as a constant float. Pi is equal to 3.14. So it's outside because it's a global value. So everywhere, whenever it is called, it should have the same value, 3.14. That's why I am declaring it outside. Now let me define the class. I will define a class with the shape, and I don't take any data member here because I don't take data member. The reason is I am supplying the necessary data elements from the main program itself. Suppose if I want to find out the volume of a cube, I am supplying S from the main program. Suppose if I want to find the volume of a cylinder, I am supplying radius as well as height from the main program. If I want to find the volume of a cuboid, then I will be sending length, breadth and height from the main program to the subprogram. That's why I don't require any elements to be declared here. But under the public, I need to define the three functions. What are they? Volume of integer to find out the volume of a cuboid, volume double comma double to find out the volume of a cylinder, volume integer comma integer comma integer to find out the volume of a cuboid, right? LBH. So now this is how I define the class. I am defining a class called shape, wherein in the public section I am defining the three functions: void volume of integer, void volume of double comma double, void volume of integer comma integer comma integer. This one is to find out the volume of a cuboid, this one is to find out the volume of a cylinder, this one is to find out the volume of a first one is to find out the volume of a cube, second one is to find out the volume of a cylinder, and third one is to find out the volume of a cuboid. So let's do that. How? Void, shape, scope resolution operator, volume, integer, yes. Now where I am supplying integer yes? See here, yes dot volume of 5. That means integer 5. 5 will be taken here. So now I am declaring another variable inside here of type integer whose value is yes multiplied by yes multiplied by yes. So now I am giving the output statement as volume of a cube is VC. What is the value of VC? Yes into yes into yes. So now volume of a cube is over by defining a function called volume with a single argument. Now let me go to another one wherein I am declaring or I am using the same name, shape, scope resolution operator, volume, but here there are two arguments, double R double H. So radius and height I am taking. So double VCL. Here I am declaring a new variable which is equal to pi r square h, which means the formula of a volume of a cylinder is pi r square h. So now I am displaying it as an output. VCL is a volume of a cylinder. Okay. Now I will define the same function with the three arguments, int L, int B, int H. So here volume of a cuboid VCD is equal to L into B into H. So I am displaying the output, which is the volume of a cuboid. So volume function, which takes one argument to find out the volume of a cube, volume with the two arguments which will find out the volume of a cylinder, volume with the three arguments to find the volume of the cuboid, but same function. That is how it is called function overloading. Now let's see how does it execute. I am declaring an object of shape S. Then I will find S dot volume of 5. S dot volume of 5. Now just look at here. What is the number of arguments I am supplying here? I am supplying one argument of integer. Now there are three places wherein the function with the volume is defined. Say here, here and here. But just look at the main program. How many arguments we are supplying? We are supplying only one argument. So we are supplying one argument. So out of these three functions, this is a suitable function. So the argument 5 will be taken by S. So VC becomes 5 into 5 into 5. 5 into 5, 120, 5 into 5 is 25. 25 into 5, that is 125. So the output, the volume of the cube is, so you get the volume of the cube is 125. So out of the three functions, this is a suitable function to execute for this particular statement. When it comes to second line, next line, here also I am using the same statement, S dot volume. But look at here, S dot volume, I am supplying two arguments. What are the two arguments I am supplying? I am supplying two double, 5.1 and 2.5. So the number of arguments are 2. What is the number of argument here? 1. So it is not suitable. What is the number of arguments here? 3. It is also not suitable. So now what is the number of arguments here? 2. Yes. What is the type of those two arguments? Double, double. Yes. This is the suitable function to execute by taking these two values, 5.1 and 2.5. So this function will execute pi into 5.1 into 5.1 into 2.5. So the output will be 204.1785. That is the volume of a cylinder. Just look at here. S dot volume of 2, 3, 4. What is the number of arguments? Number of arguments here is 3. And all the three arguments are integer arguments. So now let us look at here. Integer, but number of argument is 1. So this function will not run. Double, double. There are two arguments. So this also will not work. But when it comes to here, integer 1, integer 2, integer 3. L, B, H. So we have three integer arguments which are supplied from here. So now L becomes 2, B becomes 3, H becomes 4. And volume is L into B into H. That is 2 into 3 into 4. That is 24. Output becomes 24. So just look at here. Same function is called with the different arguments. And looking into the number of arguments, looking into the nature of arguments, the corresponding function will execute and you will get the output. And this is what is the concept of function overloading. Thank you for watching video.